Hello and welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining us. It's your favourite Scotsman here again. And today we are going to be looking at some of the most common scams doing the rounds. How to spot them and what you can better do to protect yourself. Fraudsters have become better and much more convincing over time, and the digital age has given them a whole new set of tricks to toy around with. In 2022, the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, or CAFC for short, received fraud reports totalling a staggering $530 million in victim losses. This was nearly a 40% increase from the $380 million in losses in 2021. The old one, which was, you've got a long lost uncle trapped in some faraway land that has left you $1 million, is a wee bit more complex these days. In today's world, these professionals know exactly how to elicit trust from their potential marks. Let's first look at some of the most common scams out there today. First off are emergency scams, a variation of which is the grandparent scam. These fraudulent plays prey on people by creating a sense of urgency and playing on their emotions. These con artists cold call the elderly on landlines while posing as a grandchild, relative, law enforcement official or lawyer and calling on their loved one's behalf. They'll claim that the person in question was involved in a crisis such as a collision, a police investigation, a legal complication, being ill or hurt, and the like. In order to prevent the family member from being arrested or to secure their release from custody, they demand that the elder make an urgent payment for fictitious bail, court costs, penalties, or other amounts due. Don't be fooled. This is a lie meant to make you sweat and transfer money to the person on the other side of things. By telling the victims that there's a court-issued gag order prohibiting them from discussing the case, the fraudsters effectively isolate them from digging further. In order to withdraw the desired sum of cash, the victims are instructed to go to their financial institution. The fraudsters will either have the victim transfer the money via courier services or send someone to pick it up from their residence. Also, there has been a rise in victims making cryptocurrency payments that are much more difficult to trace. Again, the digital age has provided plenty of opportunities for the world, some for the better and others more nefarious. Next up in scams to look out for is unauthorised charges or compromised bank accounts. Now, there can be a few variations on this, but in a lot of instances, the con artist poses as a representative of your bank or a well-known credit card company. The account has been compromised or the unauthorised charges have been made. In some instances, the con artist requests your credit card details. The con artist will then request money from you in exchange for reimbursement costs as bait money to help them catch a dishonest employee. I can tell you from personal experience that they called my wife one day and these guys were very convincing. They even had me thinking twice about it, so please do be careful. Moving on from there though, we're going to look at one you may have heard about but hopefully not experienced by now. The CRA Scam. A scam artist presents themselves as a representative of Service Canada or the Canada Revenue Agency. According to them, you've got a dodgy SIN number, delinquent bills, unpaid taxes, a pending legal lawsuit against you, or you've committed some sort of financial crime. They threaten to have you arrested, fined, or even deported if you don't speak to them right away. They may demand payment through money service businesses, prepaid cards or gift cards, such as those for Google Play, Steam or iTunes, or through Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. Often this is done by phone, but in more recent years, scammers have also used email and text messages. The CRA will never ask for personal information or demand payment via email. They will also never use text messaging unless it's for two-factor authentication to get into your online My CRA account. And absolutely under no circumstances will the CRA ever threaten you or say that they will have you arrested. Another scam to keep an eye out for is one directed specifically at the Asian population. Automated calls purporting to convey a message from Beijing's police force, Interpol, a delivery service, or even the Chinese consulate. These phone calls can be quite menacing and intimidating. While the hoax calls can differ, they typically accuse you of being involved in the crime and claim that customs intercepted mail or a package addressed to you. For instance, the notification can inform you that you are the focus of an inquiry after customs stopped a suspicious package containing numerous bank cards. If you're part of this community, keep your wits about you. The last scam we're going to highlight today is a very important one. Viruses have been around for as long as I can remember, which is a long time, sadly. When it comes to computers, and despite your best efforts, I'm willing to wager that most of you will have likely had one at some point or another. With this statement, the scam artist alleges that a virus has infiltrated your PC. The communication may take place via unsettling website pop-ups urging you to make an urgent call, or a call from someone claiming to be a Microsoft or another well-known computer company employee. The con artist claims that your computer is spewing malware or has been hacked and needs to be fixed. They ask to be given access to the computer so that they can run apps or change settings. Do not, under any circumstance, ever give anybody you don't know this access. No legitimate company will call you and claim that your computer is infected with a virus. They can take all sorts of information from you this way. And just to add insult to injury, they will often demand payment by credit card or money transfer for fixing your PC. Sometimes the con artist requests access to your bank account so they can transfer the money. This is a massive red flag. If you ever find yourself in this position, turn everything off, unplug everything, and take your computer to the nearest IT store and request assistance. I'm a glass half full guy for the most part, but unfortunately there are a lot of charlatans out there. More often than not, these are highly intelligent individuals using their talents for their own purposes. I often think that if they spent half the effort on a legitimate business instead of their criminal enterprises, the world would be much better off. But I also appreciate that it's a little bit naive to think like that. There are too many possible scenarios to include in this video, but we have included several links to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, which outlines a whole list of different issues that are currently impacting Canadians. So, how can you spot and, more importantly, protect yourself from bad actors in the digital stage? There are a few recommendations to follow. Don't be afraid to say no. Do your research and verify who you're dealing with is legitimate. And do not give out personal information unless it's something that you initiated. Be aware of anybody asking for upfront fees. Protect your computer with the latest antivirus software. And be very careful with who you share images with. Make sure your online accounts have strong passwords. Yes, I'm looking at you, password 1234. And lastly, keep your wits about you. You never just assume who you're dealing with is legit. Anyone, anywhere, at any time can be victim of fraud. Please call your local police right away if you believe you're at risk of a scam, fraud or cybercrime. Also, whether or not you are the unlucky one, it is advised that you report the incident to the CAFC so that they can continue to do their job and better protect Canadians. Thanks for joining us today. If you thought this video was helpful, then we'd encourage you to share it with friends and family members. The more awareness we can bring to this ever-expanding criminal activity, the better. I would also kindly ask that you hit the thumbs up before you go. And if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of great content lined up over the coming months. As always, feel free to leave any questions in the comments section below. See you next time.